Hello friends, welcome back. In today's lecture, I am Dr. Milind Meshram, working as an assistant professor in the Department of Chemistry, KTHM College, Nashik. In last few lectures, we have been discussing retrosynthetic analysis and functional group interconversions. So we have also seen the first group disconnection so far. So in today's lecture, I am going to talk about two group disconnections. So what do you mean by two group disconnections? If you consider any target molecule and that target molecule contains two functional groups, and if you want to disconnect the one bond, in that disconnection other functional group will also involve. Okay? So it would be better understood by taking an example, isn't it? So let's have an example. So let us consider this is our target molecule. So we have seen various guidelines. Okay. So this is nothing but the one of the guideline. This is guideline number 4. We can say guideline guideline 4. So two group disconnection are better than one group disconnection. Okay. So this is nothing but the our guideline number 4. Two groups disconnections are better than the one group disconnection. Okay. So when you look at this molecule, you will spot the two functional groups. Okay. So as per our guidelines, one of the guidelines, so our disconnection must correspond to the known reliable reactions, and other guidelines suggest if our target molecule is having heteroatom, so our disconnection should be next to the heteroatom. So in this case we have this oxygen, so we could have either this side or this side disconnection. So that means you can envision there are two possibilities present in it. Okay. So let's say this one A cleavage and this B. So let us see this cleavage A. So let us put this retrosynthetic arrow. So this is the CO disconnection. So CO ether we can write this is A disconnection. So we could get these two fragments. Okay. So since this oxygen is having more electronegativity than that of this carbon, so it tend to have the negative charge. And this carbon will have positive charge. This oxygen will have negative charge. Okay. So let us translate into the respective chemical equivalents. So this xanthan is having positive charge, so we can add chlorine, bromine, or even we can add OH. So let us add OH there, and this can be translated into this OH. Okay. So these are two chemical equivalent reagent. So when you look at this this starting material, it is having two hydroxyl group, and when you going to react with each other, these two reactants, when you combine it, so you will cause a means this, because of this two hydroxyl group, it will cause a chemoselectivity problem. So that means these two hydroxyl group was a chemoselectivity problem. So when you react this alcohol with this dihydroxy compound, so it is hard to selective hydroxylation of this primary alcohol in the presence of this secondary alcohol. That means it does not correspond to the non-reliable reactions. So this is not a good option. Then we can go for this B cleavage. So let us see this B cleavage. So again this CO ether linkage. So this is our B cleavage. So when you cleave this bond, when you draw this line, so you would get this fragment. So this oxygen will bear negative charge, and this carbon will have positive charge. So this oxygen is having negative charge, that means this is a donor. Okay. So we can call it D1 donor, and this is 1 2. The positive charge is present at second carbon, so we call it A2 acceptor. So you might be thinking, so what would be the chemical equivalent for this particular synthon? So, okay. So you might be thinking, so since this carbon is having positive charge, so we can add chlorine, bromine, so we can get this kind of chemical reagent. So this could be the chemical equivalent. Okay. Chemical equivalent. But, and this we can translate, this is the naturally we can translate to its corresponding alcohol. So when you are going to combine these two reactants, so you will have the chemoselectivity problem. So what would be the better option for this chemical reagent, for this chemical equivalent? So this oxygen is having lone pair, so if you could think this lone pair and kicking out this chlorine, so you could get this kind of chemical equivalent. Okay. So this is the better option. Okay, better reagent. This is the better reagent. Okay. So this is the this epoxide is better equivalent for this particular synthon. Okay. So this is about the two group disconnections. So what we have done, so when you look at this molecule, so you will observe two functional groups, and after cleaving this bond, so other functional group is also involved. The involvement of the two functional group in the disconnections, it is known as two group disconnections. Okay. So let us have this forward synthesis. So we have this alcohol. When you react with base, for example, you can have sodium hydride. So we would get this alkoxide ion. Okay. So this alkoxide ion will attack at the less hinder side. So we have this less hinder side like this. So this alkoxide ion will attack at this less hinder side. So this bond gets break, and you will get this intermediate. Okay. After protonation, you will get the target molecule. So this is how we can achieve the synthesis of this particular molecule. So let us have another example. Phenyramidol this drug is actually it is muscle relaxant. Okay. This is our target molecule. So you can easily recognize there are two functional group. Okay. So on the arrow, retrosynthetic arrow, we can write 1, 2, the X disconnection. So we can disconnect this bond, CN bond, CN amine bond. So you could get this two fragment, okay. So we can translate these two synthon and this one to this 2 amino pyridine. Okay. So this is styrene oxide. So this styrene oxide and this 2 amino pyridine. Even this styrene oxide you could obtain from this styrene. Okay. So this is about the analysis for this phenyramidol. Okay. So when you look at this molecule, you will realize that so there are two functional group, so that are in 1-2 relation. Okay. So 1-2 relation. This 1 and 2, this carbon indicates there is a relation in between two functional group, 1-2 relation. Okay. So then we can cleave this bond to get these two fragments. As I mentioned it before, this synthon correspond to its epoxide, that is styrene oxide. So let us see its forward synthesis. In synthesis, we can use styrene as a starting material. Then the treatment of the styrene with perbenzoic acid. Okay. So you could get this epoxide. You can write this way also. Okay. This is styrene oxide. Now the next step with two amino pyridine. Okay. So this amino group will attack at this less hinder side, this bond will get open. So you will have this target molecule. So in this way we can get our target molecules. So we have started with styrene. So when this styrene reacts with this perbenzoic acid, so you will get this epoxide, and treatment of this epoxide with 2 amino pyridine, this amino group will attack at less hinder site, this bond will gets open, then you will get these target molecules. Okay. So, let us have another interesting example, that is propranolol okay. It is beta blocker that reduces blood pressure. Okay. And this, once this drug was one of the top selling drugs, okay, worldwide. Okay. So, let us have its retrosynthesis analysis. Retrosynthesis. Okay, this is our target molecule. So, we have now 3 functional groups over there, okay, and you can envision there are 2-1-2 relationships, okay. One could be here and other could be here. So, we can write 1 2 and this 1 2, means there are 2-1-2 relationship, 1 2 and 1 2. You can either disconnect this bond or this bond. So, as per our guideline, so we have to choose alternative route that avoid the chemoselectivity. That means it offers the more reactive functional group will be disconnect first. Okay. So, this is the more reactive functional group. So, we can disconnect this bond. So, CN bond, CN amine bond. So, you could get these 2 fragments. Okay. Since nitrogen is having more electronegativity, so it is tend to have negative charge and this carbon will have positive, then nitrogen have negative charge. So, we can translate to its chemical reagent. Okay. And this isopropyl amine and this is epoxide. Okay. This synthon can be transformed into its epoxide and this isopropyl amine. So, we can disconnect further. Now, one of our guidelines suggests if your molecule is having heteroatom, so disconnection should be next to the heteroatom. So, we can disconnect this bond. So, let us say CO ether bond. So, we could get these starting materials. So, here I will directly write alcohol, and here here I will write this chlorine, and here alcohol. So, this is alpha naphthol, and this is epichlorohydrin. Okay. These two chemicals are readily available. So, this is how the analysis is. This is our target molecule having the 2-1-2 relationship. So, you can either have this disconnection or this disconnection, but this disconnection will have the chemoselectivity problem as our guidelines suggest. So, we should disconnect the more reactive functional group in the beginning. So, we have disconnected this bond C and amine bond. So, we got these two fragments, and this fragment can be translated to its corresponding epoxide, and this is isopropyl amine. Okay. Again, this molecule can be disconnected further. So, we have disconnected this CO bond to get this readily accessible starting material, that is alpha naphthol and epichlorohydrin. Okay. So, let us see its forward synthesis. Okay. So, alpha naphthol reacts with epichlorohydrin. Okay. So, here, so if you could react this alpha naphthol, you might be thinking this hydroxyl group will attack at this carbon, but mechanistically, so this epoxide is more electrophilic than this CCl bond. Okay. This epoxide is more electrophilic than CCl bond. Okay. So, we will see the mechanism as well. So, let us consider this is ARO after abstracting this proton, okay, by NH. So, we could get this ariloxy anion. Okay. Then chloride. So, this ariloxy ion will attack at this less hinder carbon. Okay. Then this bond will get open, and you will get this this bond okay. So this intermediate you will get. Then in next step this chlorine will go. So you will get this epoxide product. Okay. So when you treat this alpha naphthol with this epichlorohydrin in the presence of base, so you could get this epoxide. Okay. This and this same. So next so after having this epoxide in hand, you can treat with isopropyl amine to get so we could get this target molecule. So what we have done, the alpha naphthol reacted with this epichlorohydrin in the presence of base, so you will get this epoxide, and this epoxide will treated with this primary amine. So the amino group will attack at this less hinder site, so it will get open. So this we will end up with our target molecule. Okay. So let's have another example, that is the intermediate moxnidazole intermediate. Okay. So this molecule which we are going to study, that is the moxnidazole intermediate. Okay. So this moxnidazole is an anti parasitic drug. Okay, and this intermediate is playing an important role in its synthesis. Okay, so this is our intermediate target molecule. So let's put this retrosynthetic arrow. So when you look at this molecule, you will observe there is a presence of this carbamate group. So obvious disconnection would be this carbamate disconnection, CN and CO, that is carbamate group. So we will disconnect this. So NH2 so I am not going to write this synthon. Okay. So other way, this carbamate, so we will have this dimethyl carbonate. Okay. So this is actually dimethyl carbamate. So this is same. Okay. So then here there are two 1-2 relationship. Okay. One is here 1-2 and here 1-2. You can either have this connection over here or here. So we need to disconnect the more reactive one. So we can go for this disconnection, that is CN cleavage. Okay, CN amine. So we will get hydrazine plus this epoxide. Okay, and plus hydrazine. So we can go for further disconnection for this compound. So again CN disconnection, CN amine bond. So we could get this epichlorohydrin, okay, and this is morpholine, and this is epichlorohydrin. So this is how we can do the retrosynthetic analysis for this particular intermediate. So when you look at this molecule, so it is the obvious disconnection of this carbamate group. So you can cleave this bond like this, so to get this amino hydroxyl compound, and in this molecule you will envision the 2-1-2 relationship. Okay, 1-2 and 1-2. You can either cleave this bond or this bond. Yeah, this bond. So we have disconnected this bond to get these two reagents, okay, this hydrazine and this epoxide. Again we can cleave this epoxide to get this simpler starting material, that is this both these reagents are easily accessible. Okay. So, let us see its forward synthesis. So, we have epichlorohydrin. When you react with morpholine, okay, this is epichlorohydrin. When you react with this morpholine, we will get this epoxide. Okay. So, in next step, when you treat this with hydrazine, okay, so it will attack at this less hinder side. So, you could get this hydroxylamine. Okay. You will get this hydroxylamine, and finally, when you treat this with dimethyl carbonate, so we will get the target molecule, that is moxnidazole intermediate. Okay. So, this is how we can achieve the synthesis of this intermediate. So, in all these examples, we have seen the two group disconnections, where we have realized the 1-2 relationship present in these molecules, so that we can cleave the one bond adjacent to the functional group, and so that other functional group will also involve in this analysis particular disconnections. So, in the next lecture we will see the more interesting problem based on this concept. Thank you very much.